so let's talk about this. So, you saw the thumbnail, but I'm not here to break down Raleigh versus Teofimo. I don't really care for either fighter. I just want to say this. I saw a lot of videos of people with their predictions, bold predictions too. Now, we can all make predictions and be wrong. Okay. My predictions are pretty much spot on. And there's many times I'll tell you I don't know how to call a certain fight because there's several reasons. One, to be honest with you, as a grown, mature man, a lot of these fighters are not relatable. I feel like I'm watching and listening to the words of a bunch of children instead of grown men. The inconsistency, it's hard to call it. Anybody can just have a bad night, and we don't know when those bad nights come. But when you do a lot of this, it really doesn't matter to people. You came with what you had that night, they came with what they had that night. Now, I didn't watch the fight, and I don't intend to watching it. And that's why I did no coverage of the press conference or any fight build-up. I wasn't watching it. I don't even care. Now, I did, however, see Romero's post-conference. And it made me laugh because it made me think about when he lost to Tank. Now, I didn't see what happened, but the questions that was being asked and how he was snappy, attitude. When he lost to Tank, he said all that happened was he caught me with a good shot. And I'm like, well, that's not all that happened, but that's all that needed to happen. When I look at a fighter, I look at the consistency, and I look at that in both fighters. Okay, and some fights are not easy to call, and even fights that might be difficult to some people might be easy to call for others. Like when I told you guys that Teofimo was going to beat Lomachenko, in my opinion, and he did. Y'all couldn't see it. When I told you guys that, that Shakur Stevenson, that he should be easy work for Shakur. Teofimo, I'm talking about. Y'all couldn't see it. Now, the funny thing is, most of these so-called journalists, you guys are YouTubers. If you're a journalist, specify. Are you a sports journalist? I mean, there's different pedigrees. Are you a sports journalist? Or you're just a journalist in general? Because there's a lot of serious things going on in the world that y'all don't talk about. You don't cover. All y'all talk about is a bunch of meaningless things that mean nothing. Y'all just making money off your channels, though. So what kind of journalists are y'all? And then, especially as you black journalists, when all you do is sit up and talk trash about black people. So the same way that Stephen A., got the thumbs down award, a lot of y'all should have it too. Because you guys are ridiculous. Let's be honest. Now, to get to the Romero and Teo situation, like I said, I didn't watch the fight. I just heard what he was saying and the questions that was being asked. Now, the one guy, I don't remember his name, but I did recognize his voice. It's a white guy. He does a lot of videos with Radio Raheem. I don't remember his name. He's a white guy, got the fucking He-Man haircut and shit. That's the guy when Raleigh said, I don't want to talk to him. Can I talk to somebody else? Please skip this guy. I don't want to talk to him. That's who that was. I'm sure that was his voice. But anyway, for the people that like to compare, and they make foolish comparisons that don't make any sense. I'll give you an example of something, right? When people was rating Tim Tszyu at one point before he finally lost, I felt like they was overrating Tim Tszyu because I watched him fight and I didn't see what they saw. I saw a guy that has power, that's very one-dimensional, come straight, and if he can connect and you can't take his punch, then yeah, more than likely he'll get you out of it. But he hasn't shown any versatility or the type of toughness that people was talking about, and this is mostly when they were comparing him to Jamel Charlo. Tim Tszyu is not as good as his father, Costa Tszyu. When people say, you see what Sugar Ray Leonard did to Floyd Mayweather Sr., right? Well, what does that have to do with Floyd? Floyd, for one, is way better, way better than his father. And, you know, he claims he had a bad hand or something. I don't know, whatever. Don't know. That's not a Ray Leonard problem. But whatever the case, pretty much, what does that have to do with Floyd? So in other words, because Ray beat his father, he beat Floyd. And his father is nowhere near as good as he is. I call that a fallacy, especially with, I know that it's bias behind that. It has nothing to do with him beating Floyd Jr. Smoking Joe Frazier. So because Marvis Frazier got steamrolled by Mike Tyson and Larry Holmes, we're just going to assume that Larry Holmes and Mike Tyson would just destroy Joe Frazier because they beat up his son, Marvis Frazier, who's nowhere near as good as Joe. We're going to assume, it makes me laugh when people say Mike Tyson would have knocked Muhammad Ali out. How? He couldn't knock out James Quick Tillis, who was a Muhammad Ali clone. That is nowhere near as good as Muhammad Ali. And this is why, if you notice between the two, to show you how this is how you know a level of greatness speaks volumes without the words. You never hear people say Prime Ali. They just say Muhammad Ali. But when it comes to Mike Tyson, they have to specify Prime Mike Tyson. Okay, well, Prime Mike Tyson versus Muhammad Ali all day. This man was in his prime when he fought James Quick Tillis, and he couldn't even get rid of him. And most people thought Mike Tyson lost that fight. But somehow, he can't knock out James Quick Tillis. He can't knock out Bone Crusher Smith. Yeah. Did you see what Holyfield did to Quick Tillis? Huh? Mike gets knocked out by Buster Douglas, and we blame it on Robin Givens, who he wasn't even with anymore. We blame it on Japanese women and Bobby Brown. But Holyfield knocks him out. But people don't bring that up. But when Tyson destroys Alex Stewart, people say, well, Holyfield fought him twice and he gave him hell. Right. Now, what happens when they got near with each other, though? Holyfield tore that ass up, didn't he? Not once, but twice. And he bit him. You ever stand up and watch one of your homies fight, start yelling, bite him. Yo, bite him, Hakeem, bite him. Nah, you got elbows and knees just like me. You got feet just like me. You kick me, I'm going to kick you. You punch, I'm going to punch you. Whatever you can. I'm going to put my mouth on your nasty ass sweaty body for. We ain't talking about out in the streets trying to survive a life and death situation. No, this is two gladiators in a ring, and Mike opts to bite the man's ear. And this is the same guy that's going to beat Muhammad Ali. And that's a comparison people love to make to try to make a case for Mike that, yo, Joe Frazier. I heard Michael John White even say that. And this dude Vlad, yo, Joe Frazier, he fight just like Tyson. Bullshit. He don't fight just like no goddamn Mike Tyson. They are different. One is side to side, quick feet. I give him that. He has better footwork than Joe. But Joe is up and down, and Joe's style is different, how he leans with them left hooks. And why it's hard to counter Joe a lot of times is because when he does it and how he leans, the way he comes up, he throws a left hook, and then it's explosive. And Muhammad Ali, a lot of times, how he throws his hooks, he curves them. But when he throws down the pike, see, it's different. It's a lot of differences. But bottom line is, they always want to make that comparison. To say that Mike would have won because he fights like Joe and Joe gave him trouble. Okay, but he also beat Joe as well. And he beat Joe twice out of the 3 fights that they had. So how do we just ignore that and just say, oh, Mike wins? You understand what I'm saying? But yet they don't bring up the fact that Quick Tillis was a Mike Tyson, was a Muhammad Ali clone. And he couldn't get rid of him. Quick Tillis is nowhere near as good as Muhammad Ali. Okay. So those type of comparisons people look at and they try to make cases. I always said Rolly Romero was overpowered. I mean, was overrated. Okay. In terms of initially he was a Floyd fighter, right? And people hated him for that. when they started talking about how hard he hit, and they started talking about him beating Tank. Now, this guy fought, was it Jackson Marinez or Marinez Jackson or whatever his name is, and that guy went in there and he beat the shit. He outboxed Raleigh. Raleigh got angry at the post conference. Well, you can fucking do it again. I don't care. We get a rematch. I don't care. But he never gave him a rematch. And he acted the same way. Angry because people thought he really lost. When he lost to Tank, angry at the people asking questions because he basically was embarrassed, butthurt, and pretty much act like people saw a different fight. Like they didn't understand what they saw. You got knocked out. That's what happened. Even on the way back to the dressing room, he was on Bambi legs, right? So what ends up happening with Raleigh is, without doing anything, just some mediocre fights, without doing anything, he convinced you all that he could beat Tank. And a lot of people were saying, I think he's going to beat Tank. Raleigh's confidence against Tank Davis was because he's much bigger than Tank. Naturally a bigger guy. Stronger, and well, he's strong. I don't know if he's stronger, but he's big and she's strong for sure. I know that. Bottom line is, he was confident because he just felt like, I could bully this little guy, and that didn't work out for him. Because if you watch Raleigh, he's one punch at a time. He doesn't know how to put combinations together, man. He'll throw. See, Raleigh can nullify basic shit, basic repetitiveness. He can handle. He can handle. This is why people talk about the hand speed of Ryan, right? Why do you think he was able to nullify it? Just keep the hand up. Just simple. That's all. Raleigh fought that fight like, if you throw 2 punches, I'm going to throw 3. If you throw 8 punches, I'm going to throw 9. You understand what I'm saying? If you first this time, I'm going to be first next time. It's like he never tried to take over that fight. He didn't step it up and put any heat on Ryan. He just laid back and said, okay, if it's still waters, I'm going to keep it still waters. I just want to be a little bit better than him. So he never pushed the pace to go for the knockout. Ryan Garcia went in there and he felt Raleigh's power, and he knew, like, damn, okay, this guy can crack. Let me just stay back. And that's what he did. He fought the way y'all accused Haney of fighting, the same day, of moving. But remember, we talked about how Haney threw more punches and landed more punches, yet everybody wanted to criticize his performance, right? But you could see he didn't want to get into a firefight. And I'm talking about Ryan. Now, Rolly, since then, has put in people's head this false confidence that Ryan is better than what he was. Because this is why people are saying that. Because we've seen when Ryan went in there and fought Tank, and how he got hit and how he went down. And I'm talking about the second time. And how when Tank ran up on him, what did he do? He stood back up and went back again. Tank yelled at him, man, get up, get up. And he shook his head no, and he didn't continue. Let's sweep that under the rug like it never happened. See, when I'm looking at your consistency, when I'm looking at your ring IQ, when I'm looking at, like, nobody in boxing was better at figuring out their opponents and then nullifying their opponents than Floyd. That's why Floyd didn't need an actual rematch. He only had rematches to shut people up about a fight being closer or closer than it was or whatever. But he could figure you out in the fight. Most people got to lose first, then come back and win the rematch. Y'all think it's really easy, but y'all sit here and you put certain fighters in the category of fighters before them. I respect Devin Haney more than the rest of those guys in his weight classes. I respect his hustle and his game. But Devin Haney included. Terrence Crawford, none of them. Man, let me tell you something, man. And I say this, if Terry Norris, if it was possible, if you could do that time machine, Terry Norris would destroy these dudes, man. Terry Norris would be like undisputed king in this era. Like, he would kill these guys, man. Pernell Whitaker. Let me tell you something, man. There's a difference. We can be equals in power, speed, technique. But let's say my reflexes are better than yours. That's all I might need to beat you. We can be equals. Height, weight, reach, speed, power. But I got better footwork than you. That might be the difference. We can be equals in everything, physically. But I got a better boxing mind than you. Instead, a lot of these people, they put fighters in a particular category because of similarities to other fighters. And they think that it's going to be the same result. Like people saying at one point, Adrian Broner, he better than Floyd because he hit harder. He's Floyd on steroids. And I'm like, this little dude don't hit harder than no goddamn Floyd. Are you stupid, man? This dude is fighting. He's not as strong as Floyd. He's not as big as Floyd. So for his weight class, and he got some pop on his punch, but nothing devastating. He's no Floyd Mayweather. Now, when you sit and make a comparison, everybody thought he was going to smoke Marcos Maidana. So when he goes in there and gets his ass kicked, Floyd gets revenge for Adrian. I think a lot of people don't remember that. Not once, but twice. But he showed you this is how you nullify this guy. This is how, right? Check this out. It's like when people make the comparison. He imitates Floyd, but he has no footwork. Adrian Broner is flat-footed as hell. He basically is all upper body like James Toney. But Broner don't have the ring generalship. He doesn't have the IQ or the heart and determination. He doesn't know how to put it all together. He's nothing. He's nowhere near as good as Floyd. James Toney is not as good as Floyd. People, James Toney would no. Don't get me wrong. James was a good fighter. He was a solid fighter, but he did not have the footwork Floyd has. Okay, he had some power. He had some speed. He didn't put combinations together like Floyd did. James would counter with one shot, maybe a 1-2. But he didn't put the shots together the way Floyd did. He was smart with the counter, one piece. He had no footwork. So his offense was limited to trying to catch you with a shot and just be elusive from the waist up with everything else. He couldn't do all the things Floyd could do. Now let Roy Jones tell it, or somebody else from that era. They'll try to give you a different story. All you got to do is go and look, and I guarantee you your eye test goes, damn, you know what, you're right. And it doesn't matter if a person has more knockouts than somebody else. He had more knockouts than Roy at the time too, didn't he? And what happened? He couldn't knock out Roy. It was a whole different fight. So if you say, look at how Roy beat James, you think he would have did the same thing to Floyd simply because he did it? No, a whole different fight, man. He was not nearly as sharp as Floyd, man. And the thing with James Toney, we've seen James Toney several times when he was losing a fight. He might have came back and won. How many motherfuckers you seen beating Floyd up? Like just beating Floyd up? Nah, not happening. Now, regardless to all of that, the people that like to make these predictions, I've seen people, they will. Raleigh's going to knock out Teofimo, Raleigh this, Raleigh that, and I don't care for neither one of them. Like I said, the racist things that came out of the mouth of Ryan and out of Tio, it didn't bother him. And like I love Teofimo. Oh, right. Of course, right. You love a racist. So why the hell would I care about Raleigh Romero? You know what I mean? All right. So anyways, case in point, man. You so-called journalists, you so-called boxing connoisseurs, your predictions be so off. And the fights don't go the way y'all think they're going to go. And the thing is, it's like y'all love to stroke your own egos about what you think a fight is, like how the way y'all say it is based on I just know everything about boxing to where I can tell you the outcome of every fight. And when the fight doesn't go the way that you say, then a lot of times they'll trash the fighter because they get mad because they feel like, man, you made me look stupid. No, you guys put too much emphasis into all of this stuff. It's just not necessary, man. There's no harm because you're making a prediction, but you guys, it's like your predictions are coming from where? See, when you embrace delusion, Fighters do it. Fans are like, and logic isn't logic. You get the outcome that you get. And one thing about a fan, and I'm nobody's fan. One thing about a fan, okay? You guys, somebody could be a pedophile, a racist, or just a straight up scumbag. You guys will overlook all of that, and you'd make excuses for them simply because you've built a liking to that person, and now you've become a fan. You can't be realistic. And where's your humanity at now? Where's your morals and your decency? It doesn't matter because I'm a fan. Yeah. This is what you guys do. Anthony Joshua fans. Anytime AJ fight, I'm pulling for AJ to win. Do I want to see anybody beat AJ? Nah. But if he gets his ass whooped, he just gets his ass whooped. I don't take it personal. But listen, I would sound stupid trying to tell you that Anthony Joshua is the best heavyweight out there right now. There was a point in time where I felt that he was, and I feel like a prime AJ, that AJ, that when he was AJ, I'd put him against any of these heavyweights and the heavyweights of his era. I'd put him over all of them. But he's not that AJ now, and that's what matters. We're not telling the story about what he used to be right now. If he fights anybody right now, I want to see him win. Am I confident that he can? No, not really. It's like, I'm not sure. This AJ looks like his punch resistance is not the same. Had he knocked that guy out in the first round, in his last fight, for example, then the punch resistance, that wouldn't have been exposed. The lack of, should I say. Now, does that win give him more confidence going into his next fight, whether it's Fury or whoever? Possibly. Does it make him overconfident? Possibly. But bottom line is, we don't have to use our imaginations. Because what happened, happened. He didn't see the uppercut. He got dropped, but that shit had nothing on it. The straight, he saw it coming and still landed, and it knocked him back like that. Now, nobody's saying that the guy that he fought wasn't strong. It's obvious the guy that he's strong. He's a big dude. But the fact that AJ is even saying that he's good, the guy's good. Like, if you think that guy is good, that doesn't say a lot in a good way about AJ. And that means AJ is embracing his delusion. Maybe to make himself feel better about his choice of an opponent, or maybe you guys and how you look at the fight. But if that's what he really believes, then how? What could he possibly do to beat Moses Atama? What would he possibly do to beat Daniel Dubois in the rematch? Because let's be honest, that guy that AJ fought was garbage. I don't care what his record was. The guy is trash. Trash. So for AJ to hype him up like that, I think AJ needs the confidence. I think that's what the hyping up is about more than anything else. Is it necessary? No. But if he feels it's necessary, this is my point. I'd look at him if I'm in his corner and try to get in here and try to find out what's going on with this guy. Because let's just be real. What Anthony Joshua used to be when he had confidence that, even like I remember him getting caught with a good shot in fights in the past and how he smiled at his opponent, shake his head like, okay. And then he'd light their ass up. When the last time you saw AJ do that? You understand what I'm saying? And this is the same guy who stood there and said, I wanted to take my time and break him down, but like screw that. These guys are coming to knock me out. It's like, yeah, AJ, at what point didn't try to come knock you out? Whenever you see a weakness, yes, they're going to exploit it. Now, the saying of, or the idea, the reality that, yes, a lot of times looking for the knockout, you can get knocked out. But bottom line is this. When you are showing vulnerability, people are going to go for the knockout. It's like I said about Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, that if they were retiring after that fight, And they made the comments about they didn't want to have to put each other through that, like go through that hell again that they went through in the first two fights. Okay, cool, because now they're riding off into the sunset, and hey, next, who's next to step up to be the best in the division or whatever, right? But the fact that you continue to fight, yes, people are going to come after you now because they know you don't want to fight. We see what just happened at Pee Wee's Playhouse over there with, Amanda Serrano and her opponent. We see what happened. That chick was trying to knock her out, and you never seen Amanda look so frustrated and like, damn, like, what do I do? Like, she couldn't keep this girl off of her. She had to fight more than she wanted to. She thought she was going to put on a boxing master class. She thought that it was going to be, she's going to run into something, and I'm going to get that 33rd knockout. And it didn't happen. Now, case in point, Amanda Serrano fans can still sit here talking about she's the best, she's this, she don't matter. But if she goes in there and she don't have to get knocked out, she can just go in there and get beat up very badly to where the ref have to stop the fight, or it's undeniable. Like, no, she didn't win like a single round in this fight type of thing. And her being Amanda, they just might rob the opponent again. But what I'm saying, bottom line is, where she just take a bad beat. I'm talking about like a Ali, Larry Holmes type of ass whooping. You know what I mean? Where I can't blame the fans for that because she's a grown ass woman. Okay? But case in point, a lot of y'all are the batteries. Y'all put the battery pack in these fighters' backs to make them think they still can go in there and do what they do. And they always feel like they got that one more fight left in them. And, one time can be one time too many. Now, looking at this whole thing about, I didn't see the fight and I'm not going to watch the fight. That's why I didn't do any, like I said, I didn't do any talk about the build up to the fight. I can care less about it. But listening to the questions about the body work and everything, this is something I've always said to you guys, man. These judges act like body work don't matter. That's why people go back and watch, Lomachenko versus Haney and go, damn, I ain't gonna lie, after I watch it again, I do see why he was lighting Lomachenko's body up all night. A punch to the face and a punch to the body is worth the same amount of points. It ain't like you score more points for getting hit in the face as you do to the body. A power jab, a power punch and a jab is the same amount of points. So I don't like the whole, it depends on what the judges like. No, it should be based on who landed the more shots. It should be, who, no, don't tell me I hit you 300 times, but 200 of those punches were jabs. You hit me 200 times and all your punches was power shots. Well, I still outlanded you by 100 punches. And you're going to give that person the win or call it a draw? No. You're robbing me. Clearly. So the body work, from what I'm hearing, that T.O. was putting body work on him. Well, here's my thing. Raleigh, being as delusional as he is, he's always shown you that I think I got the power to knock everybody out, so all I need is one. And it impedes his ability to use common sense to throw combinations. Instead, he's limited to one and a 1-2. You're not going to get more than 2 punches at a time from this guy, unless he catch you and hurt you or something. And from what I understand, that he hurt this dude a couple of times in the fight and never finished him, right? Didn't jump on. No urgency. So that's why when he was saying at the post-conference that, oh, how come when any other fighter does what I did, it's a master class of boxing, but when I do it, I don't get the credit or whatever. See, here's the thing, and this is why, like I said about weak-minded people. I'm not concerned about what you did in your fight, or what the next person did. I'm concerned about what I need to do to my opponent. And also the fact that when you are a puncher, but you limit your offense, what does that power mean if you're scared to unleash it? If you're a pure boxer, what makes pure boxers, especially slick pure boxers, what really make them so difficult is this. Pure boxers don't depend on no one element in their game. So it's just in them to make sure that defensively they're sound, if that the footwork is there, that the defense is there, that they're not getting hit with unnecessary shots, they're not allowing you to get in and close the distance on them, and like they'll do everything, whether they tie you up, spin off of you, when they hit the rope, slide down out the way. Like I'm talking, every pure boxer is in them to do more things. The problem with boxer punchers is a lot of times is because they can punch, they will put themselves in harm's way when they don't need to. But a smart, pure boxer will know I'm being outboxed. I need the knockout. So they will turn up and start putting pressure on them, whereas the pure boxer is going to continue to box. The only time you will see that pure boxer really get aggressive is when they realize that that the opponent, he's getting tired. His punches don't hurt anymore. Now I can mix it up with him. That's what you see happen. And this is why pure boxers are mostly the ones that's going to stand out. So when people talk about boring, nah, man. I used to love when Floyd be on them ropes and people throwing all them punches. Floyd slipping, missing, making them miss, catch the shot, bow, counters, back their ass up, catch with that lead, bow, throw that hook to the body, bow, bow. Come on, I mean, that shit was beautiful. That was beautiful. They don't respect the technical side of things. This is another reason why punchers go in there and get schooled, because they think that when I hit you, you're not going to be able to take it. And they think he ain't going to be able to box all night. At some point, I'm going to catch him. And then when you land a shot and the person don't go anywhere, you basically have put your whole hand on the table and we can all see what your cards are. That's pretty much what happens. And these guys lose that confidence. It's, like people can talk about inexperience all they want. Sometimes, yeah, inexperience comes into play. But like if you take a Devin Haney, Brian Norman situation, for example, he was not expecting that type of ass whooping from Haney. He didn't expect Haney to be strong. Haney started out quick, dropped him quick, and he knows like, damn, okay, he got some pop in his punch, and he fought that whole fight cautiously. So at no point did Brian Norman take over the fight himself. Devin Haney outboxed him, outclassed him, and basically just beat him every round. Now, when you take those things into consideration, a boxer telling you that he can punch, he can knock you out, like Deontay Wilder used to say, you got to be perfect for 12 rounds. I just got to be perfect for 1 second. Then when that theory gets thrown out the window, he has nothing else. And then he goes into excuse mode, and his, fans go into excuse mode, and it doesn't change anything. Now, I'm looking at this whole situation like this. When you get beat, all right, and you start making excuses as to why you got beat, you start talking about what happened, like we didn't see what happened. It a lot of times it kills that confidence, and going into the next fight, when things start to get tough, you're not sure you have the answers. When has Romero ever showed you he's a complete fighter? When has Ryan ever showed you he was a complete fighter? And for anybody that said the only reason Tio beat Lomachenko is because he's naturally a bigger guy, okay, well then, what made you think that Teofimo was going to beat Shakur? What made you think that Teofimo was good enough to beat Shakur? You know why? Because you overrated Lomachenko as well. Lomachenko's not a slick boxer. He's a smart technical boxer. He's a smart technical boxer. And all that excuse about his best years being at 126 and all that, well, none of that has anything to do with, the current time of when you're fighting. The problem, when you look at those stupid comments, is this. All of these greats that have went up multiple weight classes, all of these greats that have dominated and won championships in multiple weight classes, why is it that nobody says that about Ray Leonard and Duran, who went from lightweight all the way up to 160? Why does nobody say that about Vinny Pazienza? Why does nobody say that about all these other guys that went from one weight class up? But in this generation, even Shakur Stevenson made excuses for Lomachenko. Like he should be fighting guys like Bam and, a new way, not Tank Davis and what? Mindset. You cannot compare these fighters to fighters of the past. They had too much. They had too much shit. Floyd Mayweather Sr. would fucking be the man in this generation. This is what I'm telling you, man. Terry Norris, that motherfucker would be undisputed fucking king in every division he fight in. Sugar Ray Hearns, this generation is different. Like I said before, earlier in the video, I feel like I'm judging a bunch of kids. So I can't relate to these kids, man. They don't act like grown men. There's nothing that I see in them that impresses me. There's things I see in them that, yeah, this kid got some skill. He's good. But it's levels. They don't have that killer instinct. They don't have that dog in them. They just don't have it, man. You see, Ryan Garcia, who had to cheat to beat Devin Haney, had to not make weight purposely, was drinking, doing all types of stupid shit, for Devin to underestimate the mental state of Ryan and think that maybe he's probably not in shape enough to go in here and really, get down. So I'm going to jump on him and try to get him out of there. That wasn't Devin Haney's fight the way he did it. Devin Haney said, you ain't got nothing but a left hook. And the left hook kept landing all night. Y'all gave Ryan Garcia credit when he got dropped by Luke Campbell, and he got up and he won the fight. Well, the thing is this, Luke Campbell wasn't on steroids. Luke Campbell made weight and did what he was supposed to. Devin, who made weight, was weight drained in the normal way of being weight drained, and Ryan didn't have to deal with that. And he went there and fought the wrong fight. He has no losses on his record because that bullshit loss was removed, and rightfully so. But when people watch that fight right now, they don't think about steroids, the fact he didn't make weight. No, they don't think about any of that. All they see is him doing what he did to Devin. So now, because of what he did with Devin, and they want to forget it, let's also act like what happened with Tank didn't happen with Ryan. You see, this is what happens. So now he comes back. He wins a fight against a nobody. Ryan look good, man. He's back. Right? Because that's the people that care to see Ryan do good. Raleigh beats Ryan. And y'all forget about the fact that Ryan has been nothing but a showman that has speed, a good left hook, power in his hook, and the dude basically still has never shown anything other than he's just a showman. He's very limited with what he has. And he definitely doesn't have heart determination. He doesn't have a big time chin. And if he gets hurt, he'll quit. Y'all forget all of that. So Raleigh beats him, and I seen all these videos of people talking about how Raleigh going to win. He's going to break T.O. down. He's going to do this and he's going to do that. Yeah, if he would have did it, great. But I don't care for either one of them. But at the same time, he's going to do this. He's going to do that. They give all these different predictions as to how and why he'll beat T.O., right? Well, for T.O., I told you guys before why I picked him to beat Lomachenko, and he did. Why I picked Shakur to beat him, and he did. And not just beat him, but the fight went the way I said they'd go, based on the two fighters involved. Not because of what Muhammad Ali did to somebody, not because of what Sugar Ray did to somebody, not because of what Mike Tyson did to Marvin's friend. It had nothing to do with any of that. See, when you deal with reason and logic and you look at the true side of things, it makes you make wiser decisions because you see things more for what they are. Now, any given night, a fighter can come up, show up, and not do the things that they normally do, and you can be wrong with your prediction. That's not the issue. The whole issue with how these so-called reporters, these so-called journalists sit up and they give their opinions on these fights, it amazes me, man. It really amazes me how they really honestly believe that these fighters who show no consistency is better than they've shown us. This is what I don't get. This is what I absolutely don't get. A fighter that shows you limitations. A fighter that shows you that it's easy for me to make rookie mistakes. Like AJ. Like Wilder. Like Ryan. Like Tio. But somehow, you assume they're not going to make those mistakes. Those same mistakes that they make often. Remember how Roy Jones said, whatever round it was, where Xander Zayas caught Boots with those shots and it kind of wobbled him a little bit. And he said that happens in every Boots fight. This is amazing to me how people agree with Roy saying that, but overlook these same situations with other fighters. And these are key things. The difference is, if it happens in every Boots fight, but Boots ends up winning anyway, and by a landslide, well, then that gives you more reason to believe in Boots because he has a chin. So if he does get hit, you understand what I mean? He's okay. Now, can he get hit with a shot and get knocked? Of course. But you understand what I'm saying? So when you look at the consistency, like I see so many people saying Virgil Ortiz will beat Boots because of blah, blah, blah. This guy will beat Boots. Because now you guys keep saying this, right? Here's Virgil Ortiz, a guy who just goes from one weight class to another, have one fight and just keep bouncing around, but has done nothing major. But somehow, he's better than Boots. Because you want him to be better than Boots. Several fighters that Boots have fought, people said was going to beat Boots, and then Boots went in there and beat the shit out of him. Not just beat him, but beat the shit out of him. But then they'll make excuses leading to his next fight. So after the Xander Zayas win, whoever Boots fights next, there'll be a bunch of, yeah, well, Boots get hit too much, and Boots, it's like they say something about a fighter and try to stick with it. Even when a fighter improves in something. So my thing is, y'all are so critical of Boots. You were so critical of Devin Haney, right? People was very critical of Tank at one point. And then all of a sudden, everybody just started loving Tank. But I remember the hate. So all of that stuff, why do you guys always overlook the consistent flaws of these same fighters that they show in every fucking fight, even when they win? But we've seen them have fights where shit got shaky. And these are the fighters that's always, they disappear for a while, they come back, they cry after the win. Man, I bring you so much. And somehow it's the same thing every time. Teofimo Lopez is a type of fighter, if you're not busy, he'll pick you apart. If you're not defensive, it's like really defensive minded, and your offense is your best defense, if you're flat footed, he'll pick you apart. Now, if you can stick and move, and I don't mean getting in and run and be scared, but if you can just stick and move, use footwork, Tio will have problems with you. Tio has hand speed and he has power. But Teofimo is there to be hit, and instead of boxing, he fights with his ego. And I don't think that his boxing IQ is really so high. It just depends on the level of opponents. See, if he's in there with somebody that's seen as an equal, right? The fights, okay, let me say this correctly. When it's somebody's seen as an equal, when we talking about Tank, Shakur Stevenson, or Devin Haney, there's different levels to everybody's name that I just said. They're all better than Teofimo. All of them are better than Teofimo. Lomachenko was not his equal. The reason he was not his equal is because stylistically, his mindset was, I can't compete with this guy and physicality now, right? But later on in the rounds, you could see where Tio started to slow down a little bit, Lomachenko started to pick up some. So the mistakes that he was expecting Tio to make, Tio didn't make. Slipping and deviating away from the game plan and trying to load up too much and putting themselves in harm's way to run into something, he didn't do. And his punches had no effect on Teofimo. If I can't hurt you and I can't outbox you because I put myself at risk of getting hit with a big shot, I am not your fucking equal. Do you understand that? I am not your equal. Your equal will be able to go in there and get rounds. They don't have to fight your fight, but they'll be able to nullify what you're doing. Lomachenko wasn't nullifying shit. He was losing these rounds. He was trying to be safety first, and he never once took over the fight. And when you have veteran experience, but you get to the point where I need a knockout to win, and you don't push for that knockout, you are not the equal of that person. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if he feels more comfortable fighting at smaller weights, right? Well, then that's where you need to be. And I told you guys, T.O.'s bigger, stronger, faster than Lomachenko. You understand what I'm saying? And that style that Loma has is no, it's not going to work. I don't see that shit working. What happened? And this is the difference. If I can bench press 500 pounds and you can bench press 400 pounds, you are not my equal. If I can bench 500 pounds and you can bench 500 pounds, but say I can do 15 reps and you can only do 8, you're still my equal in strength, but not in power. But we both can press 500. So that means we're both in the 500 club. Do you understand what I'm saying? But if you can't bench 500, but you can push 450, you're not my equal. You're in the 400 plus club, but not the... You understand what I'm saying? There's levels to this shit. I don't feel like these so-called journalists pay attention to the shit that I'm saying. I think they just go off feeling based on who they like and what they think going to happen, because in this fight, this happened, but you're looking at inconsistency in people, that you're overlooking inconsistency in people. And this is what I'm saying. So, yeah. That's why when I say, even like when people talk about how being 50-0 don't matter, like I said, okay, we going to say being 50-0 don't matter, but we going to salute Amanda Serrano for getting her 50th win with 4 losses, but being 50-0 don't matter. Come on, man. You know, and every excuse, and hey, salute Amanda Serrano for a 50th win. It's not, I don't personally feel like people can't congratulate her for her 50th win. But I'm saying it's funny how when Floyd is 50-0, oh, well, yeah, I know, excuses. People think that it's easy to be 50-0. Oh, no. Let me ask you something. Although Winky Wright outboxed Shane Mosley twice, you'd agree Shane Mosley was getting his licks off, and it was a far more competitive fight. The second was better than the first one as far as Shane's ability, his efforts, but bottom line is Winky was able to just outbox him, but he didn't beat Shane up. Vernon Forrest beat him up in the first fight, but Shane did recover and was fighting back, but Vernon just kept getting to him, right? Now, in the rematch, Shane did way better in the rematch. Made it much closer. Okay. When Shane fought Floyd, did he not get his ass kicked after his 2 good moments? So after 2 good moments, and he got dominated for the rest of the fight, and Floyd just punished him. Winky was never able to punish Shane. Vernon Forrest in the rematch didn't punish Shane. He just outboxed him. The first fight, when he jumped on him like that and he dropped him. See how people don't bring that shit up, though? So, case in point is, Floyd put a masterful, skillful ass open on Shane. Oh, he waited for him, nigga. No, he didn't wait for shit. Stop with that bullshit. Floyd ain't wait for nothing. Shane was the one that didn't want that fucking smoke. Case in point, though, right? Floyd consistently won fights and figured people out. Winky Wright was a bad dude. Southpaw loved watching Winky because he was technical. Them long-ass arms, and his style of fighting. He didn't do much. He didn't do much. He did enough to win. He was a very defensive fighter, them long ass arms, but he got losses. All of them got losses. All of them got losses. And none of them have the resume that Floyd has. But we will celebrate people that Floyd even beat. We'll celebrate them and, oh damn, I forgot Floyd beat him. It's one of these things where people just make up shit to say. Now, I'm nobody's fucking fan, so it's not about any of that, okay? What it's about, what I'm saying is the logic, the facts of how things have happened. Winky Wright just did an interview a couple of weeks ago, and he said, like, people were saying Floyd was born and all that. They said they want to see us, but man, Floyd was there. I respect it, man. Salute to Floyd. That dude was Floyd. I see the skills, man. I keep telling y'all get caught up with people talking negative. This is what this generation clings to, negativity. People can say what they want, but I'm going to tell y'all something, man. You being a fan of somebody doesn't change anything. What's going to happen is going to happen. Clarissa Shields is consistent, and she don't duck no smoke. Y'all created this narrative that she was scared of Shadeja. That's why she's fighting Lauren Price. Lonnie Daniels beat that ass. If Lonnie Daniels and Clarissa was to have a rematch, any one of you would sound stupid trying to say she's not a viable opponent when she just put the boogie woman on the shelf. Wasn't nobody ducking no damn Shadeja Green. Nobody. And Shadeja got put on the shelf by Lonnie, right? Who Clarissa already beat. Which means when Lonnie Daniels fought Shadeja Green, all of y'all, you same fucking so-called journalist, was picking Shadeja Green to win. You know why? Because you underestimated Lonnie Daniels, because you hate Clarissa Shields. And Lonnie Daniels is a strong, hard-hitting chick that comes with the pressure, and she put blood on this chick's brain. All right? She fucked Shadeja up with them shots. And it's the same person that Clarissa Shields dominated. That shows you how much better Shields is than the rest of these women. Do you understand? Y'all did not see Shadeja Green losing that fight. Shadeja Green, who struggled to beat a washed-up Savannah Marshall, well, Shields beat her at her prime. Shadeja Green, who got her ass dog-walked by Franchon, who Clarissa beat not once but twice. And then y'all said, this is the fight nobody wants. Who wants to see Clarissa versus Franchon again? Wait. Then why do we want to see Clarissa versus Shadeja? Because Clarissa beat the brakes off of Savannah. She beat Franchon, both of them, their debut fight. And Franchon, yeah, the old woman, right? Ain't it funny how she wasn't an old woman when she beat the shit out of Shadeja? But she was an old woman when she fought, a year later, or whatever it was, against Clarissa in the rematch and got dog walked. So what y'all gonna say if Lonnie Daniels and Clarissa have a rematch? I dare you to say, oh, she ain't that good. Okay, well then that means Shadeja Green wasn't that good. And in fact, y'all was so desperate that y'all went and made up lies and said that Shadeja came to the fight with blood on the brain. This is the time we're in. So when I hear y'all talk, I'm like, what do y'all be coming up with this stuff? Why do y'all think the way y'all think? Am I the only motherfucker left that actually has logic and reason and honesty inside? God damn, y'all be saying some dumb shit. And for the record, Lauren Price would box circles around Shadeja. And I don't have no problem with Shadeja. Salute to Shadeja, but Lauren Price would beat the shit out of her, man. Shadeja Green, more than likely, would not be able to land the shot that she would need to land on Lauren. Because that's all she would have is a puncher's chance. Outside of that, nothing. And we talk about a woman in Lauren Price that's fighting at 147 pounds. If you haven't done it, look at Lauren Price's neck. Look at her calves and her thighs. Look at her back. Right? Look at her traps. That woman is thick and solid. She can go up to about 160 at least, comfortably. I don't know about 68, but she could definitely at least go to 60 comfortably. Comfortably. I'm telling y'all, man. It's not about feelings. It's just about the reality of what we see. Come fight night, the fighter has to go in there and perform. But that's what it's about. And I don't know for the life of me what the fuck Raleigh has shown any of you. Or Tio. Yeah, but he beat Loma. Right. He beat Loma then. I'm not looking at Loma. The Loma, Tio that beat Loma. I'm looking at Tio now. Do you understand that? I'm looking at Raleigh Romero now. And Raleigh has never gotten better as a fighter. He's always been the same Raleigh on the same level. The same Raleigh. If people would have just said, man, I don't like Tio, I want to see Raleigh whoop his ass, that would have been enough to say. But all the technical breaking down and saying that this dude has a better ring IQ than people give him credit for, and the way I'm sitting there like, the same Raleigh Romero I've been watching. Where do you see all this at? Where? He's always been a dude that don't let his hands go enough. I've always said that about Raleigh. And again, he can handle basic repetitiveness. Just go watch his fights and you'll see like, damn, this is true. I don't know I think some of these people just like to hear their own voice. So they say things and this is going, and you're going to do this. I'm telling you, because if you watch this fight, what does any of that shit have to do with what's going to happen between him and Tio? And this is what people don't get, like I said. So when you say to me, yeah, but you picked Tio to beat it, right? Then, now I'm looking at Tio now. I'm focusing on what, as far as fuck Tio. Fuck him. I don't want, but you understand what I'm saying? I'm looking at a fighter, what you are now. Like I said about AJ. AJ now is not the AJ that was king of the division. This is not the same AJ. So it would be foolish of me to think AJ, just assume with no logic and reason, nothing that I've seen to make me think AJ is going to be the AJ of old all of a sudden. And AJ's like 36, 37 now. So do you understand what I'm saying? No. He's not going to be he will never be a better version of himself. A better new version of his old self. Put it like he would never. He's either going to maintain what he is. He might be able to sharpen up and improve defensively, hopefully for himself, to where he's not getting hit with unnecessary shots. But and pawing with his jab and keeping his jab hand low and all that. But I mean, he's not going to be a more complete fighter. He is who he is. He's at the stage in his life where he has to be reminded to not make these mistakes while he's training. Hey, AJ, keep those hands up, snap your jab, stop pawing with it. You know, the footwork, everything, like don't put yourself in positions where you're on the ropes where you don't need to be. And like all these things, you be first. Keep it long, work off your jab. Like other than that, and then it's up to him to go out and deliver. I don't have confidence that Anthony Joshua can emulate anything in his former self against viable opponents. Can he do it against Fury? I don't know. Fury isn't the same. AJ isn't the same. Wilder isn't the same. Usyk isn't the same. Okay, Joseph Parker isn't this. None of those guys are the same anymore. And so, again, they're older than Raleigh and older than Teofimo, but at the same time, these guys haven't showed you anything. I mean, even like when Tio beat Josh Taylor. Do you guys remember I made a video and I said, I believe that the 135-pound division, the 140 division is stacked like the 135 division in terms of namesake. But skill-wise, I think the guys at 135 are more skilled than the guys at 140. Look at how all the fights happened when these guys went up from 135 to go fight the 140 guys, the Josh Taylors, the Regis Prograis, all of them, the Ramirez. Look at how all those fights went. All the 135-pounders won. The only person that was handed something was Raleigh when he got beat up by that 41-year-old. Remember that? And they robbed the guy and stopped the referee, stopped the damn fight. You understand what I'm saying? So has Raleigh shown you that he's a better fighter now than then? No. hopefully after this fight, people will just look at things more reasonable and stop going off of what you think based on feeling. And just pulling shit out your ass just to make videos and making super chats, taking people money, telling them lies and shit. But it is what it is. That's all I got for you guys now. Catch you guys on the next video.